Hello, everybody. Everybody, hello. Pastor Mackenzie Kambezi coming your way today as we continue with progress on purpose, as we do the things of God, the things that we need for us to get where we are going. Very much excited that you are coming. I'm so thankful that this is the day which the Lord has made, and in it we choose, we declare, we will rejoice and be glad in this day. And so I'm so thankful, I'm so grateful that God has been good to you and I. I'm very excited this week. I'm really excited this week as I am working on some passages of scripture as we look forward to this celebration of this weekend, the weekend which is called Easter all over the world. We're just going to celebrate the event that Jesus died, the event that Jesus was buried, the event that Jesus rested, and the event that he got up early Sunday morning. So I'm excited. I'm working on some messages on this powerful demonstration of God's love for man this coming weekend. So I just want us to. I'm excited. I'm really happy. I'm looking at the cross from different angles, and I've discovered I'm grateful. I thank God for the cross, at the cross where I first saw the light. Alas, indeed, my Savior died. Oh my God. Jesus kept me near the cross. I'm excited about the cross this week. And I tell you, I have a word this coming weekend. I have a word. I have a word. You better tell somebody. We're going to have church here in Dayton. We're going to celebrate. We are starting our parking lot services. We're going to have our parking lot services this weekend, and it's going to be an amazing fireworks from glory as we celebrate, as we highlight the ugliness of that Friday when Jesus was put on the cross and travel through the serenity of that Sabbath rest, Jesus in the tomb, and the glorious joy of Jesus getting up early Sunday morning. I tell you, if you are in Dayton, please come to our parking lot. If you are near Dayton, you'll do yourself a favor to come in. If you're all over the world, my friends, I know you cannot get on that plane and get here on time. We will do Facebook Live as we celebrate the cross this coming weekend. It's going to be bad news. I'm excited. I'm already too excited to have you about it. But anyway, let me come to what we have for today. We are so excited that you're here, and share with friends if you can on your platforms so that many may also be blessed. I want to talk about expectations when the boss is not looking. Expectations when the boss is not looking. All right. I want to talk about that because I really do think that work, employment, is very important in our lives. When you look at your life, you have 8 hours if you are working an 8 hour job. You have 8 hours, others have 12-hour shifts that they're supposed to do in a day. So if you work 12-hour shifts, you're going to discover that you are left with another 12 hours, which is 45 minutes driving to the job, 45 minutes driving back from the job, and an hour to detox off the job, and an hour preparing to get on the job. So work, our jobs, employment takes a whole lot of our time. Out of 24 hours a day, if you look at it, if you work 8 hours, you're left with 16. If you sleep 8, then you're left with 8 for you to do everything else in there. And if it takes you 30 minutes to drive to your job, that's another 30 minutes taken, another 30 minutes coming back. That's another hour. Then maybe you need an hour to detox. So if you work an 8 hour day, you may need, you actually devote 10 hours to that job. Going to the job, coming from the job, and time to detox from the job, and time to prepare for the job. So most of our productive daytime hours are spent on the job. So I want to believe that I wish somebody had taught me how to enjoy my job. Ecclesiastes tells us that it is a gift from God. Your work is a gift of God. God's gift to you is your work, is your job. So it is when you think like that and process your labors like that, it'll give you an attitude of gratitude, and in everything, whatever you do, whether in word or in deed, do it to the glory of God. Because when you look at your work as a gift from God, it changes everything about it. So I just want to coach on somebody Expectations. Let me tell you something. If somebody is paying you to do anything, there will be expectations. All right? If anybody's paying you anything to do anything, there will be expectations. You cannot be an employee without expectations. If anybody's giving you money, nobody starts a business just to give money away. No, 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 no. If they are you are being paid for meeting the expectations. You didn't hear what I'm saying. All right, let's pray and get into this coaching. Father, give us wisdom. Thank you for the joy of the Lord that's bubbling on the inside. And I pray that, Lord, you may help us to find joy in that which we do on a regular. Amen. All right, so here it is. I want us to look at this thing. Jacob, I'll use the story of Jacob. If you have time, I'm going to encourage you to read, because all the principles I have are going to be coming from Genesis, the book of Genesis chapter 30 and Genesis 31. You're going to discover that the lessons come from there, how Jacob handled his job situation. All right. I just want to coach. I want to empower somebody in a practical, relevant, and biblical way about employment, about your job, about your work. Expectations when the boss is not looking. All right. What do I need to do? How can I go about this thing? It matters. Some people are more faithful in spiritual things than they are in their day-to-day things. Let me tell you something. If all you do and all you need is on the weekend, and during the week you are defeated, then you got a problem. You know, even the 10 commandments have the most beautiful fourth commandment. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thine work. 6 days is the one commandment that has everything detailed, the longest of the 10, and the one with clarity as to what we need to do. So if you don't do 6 days, you will not do 1 day. So here it is. How do we empower and get ready for the 6 days of labor? All right, expectations when the boss is not looking. Can I get into it? Yes, we're getting in. All right, Genesis chapter 31, and I'll use verse 6 and 7 so that we can launch into our coaching today. Jacob said to his, Jacob called Leah and Rachel to the fields. And verse 5, he said to them, I see your father's face, that it is not favorable toward me as before. But the God of my father has been with me. And you know that with all my might I have served your father. Yet your father has deceived me and changed my pay, my wages 10 times. But God, but God did not allow him to hurt me. All right. He changed it. Come on, 10 times. Can you imagine your salary being changed 10 times? And instead of being fussy and mad and angry, Jacob says, but God. Woo! It says, listen, it was the pay that he changed, but God made sure he could not hurt me. So what do I do when the boss is not looking? Expectations. I've got some few things I want to share with you. I'm going to address this thing in 2 ways. One, what to do, what you, the employee, must do, and then how you, the employee, must deal with your boss. Is that all right? Okay, let me get into it and talk to you about it. Number one, you need to do it right. As an employee, learn to do it right. Jacob says, yeah, he messed me up. 10 times he changed my pay, but you know that with all my might, I've served your father. So number one, if you're an employee of anything, listen, let me talk to you. If you're an employee of anything, there's no perfect job under the earth. There's no perfect employer under the earth. I'm telling you right now, whether you work for the church, you are an employee of the church. You know, God calls you and the church employs you. If anybody is writing your check, if anybody is giving you health insurance, you need to understand you are an employee. It is what it is. That's just what it is. All right. So here it is, number one, when the boss is not looking. Number one, do it right. Do it right. Irregardless of who and where you work, do it right. Because let me tell you something, your character is being developed through it all. It's who you are becoming that's more important than what you do on the job. So whatever job you do, it doesn't matter what it is, do it right. Do the job right. Okay, you got to do it right. It don't matter what your job is. If you don't like it, change the job, but the principle is the same. Whatever you do, whether you're digging trenches, whether you are a CEO, whether you are a CFO, whether you are a pastor, whether you are whatever you do, do it well. There is no perfect job in the world, and there's no perfect employer in the world. Listen to what Jacob said. Jacob says, your father, I served your father with all my might, but your father deceived me. In other words, nobody in this world can pay you what you're worth. Nobody in this world can pay you what you're worth. Whatever you are being paid is less than what you're worth. It doesn't matter what it is. Listen, man, I'm telling you right now, it don't matter. That's why the rich keep on becoming greedy, greedier and greedier and greedier, because you need to understand when it comes to what you get as remuneration or wages or salary, it will never be enough. It'll never be enough. But number one principle, do it right. Do it right. Whatever you do it right. If you are employed by somebody, expectation number one, do it right. Do it right. Whatever it is. Listen, ultimately you're going to discover, as Jacob says, God is developing your character through that which you do on a regular basis. Your job is part of God's chiseling process of making you into applying the principles that will literally make you who you're supposed to be. So do it right. That's number one. No matter how unfair the situation is, do it right. Do it right. I mean, this is what Joseph did. I mean, he was a slave and he did it right. He did it right, and God was with him in that job as a slave. And he became the boss. And he was thrown into prison, and he did it right in prison. And God gave him favor on it. In other words, God's favor on your job is not replacement of you doing it right. God's favor with you on your job is not replacement of you doing your part. You implying and applying excellence on the job. Okay? God is with you. God's favor is with you on your job, but you must do it right. There are some things that God will not do it for you. You got to do it right. If you're employed, do it right. Whatever your job is, do it right. There's no perfect job anywhere in the world. Okay? All right, there's number two. Number two, do more than expected. These are very simple principles, I know. But if we apply them, you're going to find joy anywhere and everywhere. Do it right, number one, and do more than expected. Do more than expected, because your competition on your job is you. Your competition on your job is you. Okay? Don't aim for minimal requirements, because we're living in a culture where people just want to know what's the minimum. Okay, what's the minimum? What's the minimal requirement? Nobody's asking the question, what's the maximum? So that I can go beyond. I want to hit what is it? What is the highest score? I want to outperform the highest score. I don't want to outperform the lowest score. No. I don't just want to make it, but so you must do more than expected. If you're going to find joy and excitement in any job situation, you must do more than expected. All right. Now, what you're going to discover is not every employer, and we're going to get into that part, not every employer is comfortable with you doing more than expected. If you have a boss who is insecure, you doing more than what is expected of you will actually make you a competitor with them. And when you become a competitor, let me tell you something, people become vindictive. All right? People become vindictive. The story of Jacob, when you look at it, it was because Jacob was doing more. The Lord was blessing it, that Laban, his employer, literally changed his face. His son started talking about he has taken all of our father's wealth and all that kind of stuff. And I'm telling you, whenever you do something well, when you do more than what is expected, watch out, because you're going to create some situations. But the blessing is, whatever negative that comes from you doing it right and you doing it more than expected, it will always be part of elevating you into the next level of your journey. Is that all right? There's number three. Number three, do not wait to be told what to do. Do not wait to be told what to do. You got to love what you do. Do not wait to be told what to do. All right? If there's work to be done, you do that. If there's a paycheck at the end of the day, listen, earn it. Earn your money. Earn your money. Earn your salary. Okay? Don't just simply say, well, I didn't do it because it didn't tell me. No, you got to do it. You got to love what you do. Okay? Because nobody can pay you what you're worth. But you will develop and discover the best part of you through the work that you do. Okay? Does that make sense? So in other words, it's a win-win situation. Whether the money is low and yet the experience is higher and you have developed character, you cannot pay character. Character is beyond what anybody can pay. So here it is. Expectations when the boss is not looking. Number one, do it right. Number two, do more than expected. You just got to do it. I remember I pastored a church where somebody came to me and said, Pastor, each time we turn around, there's something going on in the church. Each time we turn around, there's something going on in the church. And I said, listen, we got people to save. We're going to have evangelistic meetings as they come. We had 4 every year. We had revivals every quarter. Yeah, you got to do more than what is expected. Nobody can pay you. If you try to carry your career based on what you are paid, you'll always give less than what you are capable of. Because nobody can pay you enough. Nobody can pay you enough. And that's what I've discovered. Nobody can pay you enough. Everything you get from everybody as salary is stipend, because nobody can pay your worth. All right. So number 3, do not wait to be told what to do. All right. Number 4, when the boss is not looking, do the dirty and difficult jobs. Do the dirty and difficult jobs. I'm just saying, how can I be excited as a believer on my job? I don't care what job you got. You can change the atmosphere where you work. You can change the atmosphere where you work. Do the difficult. You don't work because it is easy. You work because it is hard. You work because you're a solution to a problem. You are solving a problem. So you must be ready to do the dirty and the difficult jobs. That's what Jacob did when he was working with Laban. Laban changed his salary 10 times, and Laban was a crook. I mean, Jacob was a crook. You remember, he was a crook. He crooked his own brother and father, and he came in to work for a crook. So Jacob knew the pain of being cheated. I mean, because he was a cheater himself. And he came in to find, because God was developing his character, repackaging him so that he could become one of the patriarchs of the believers. So it matters. If you on your job, learn to do the difficult and the dirty jobs. Listen to me. Nobody will ever take away your joy. Nobody will take away your joy. Yeah, because if you walk in expecting difficult and expecting dirty, and then you have the joy of finding God in it, Ecclesiastes tells us that your work is a gift from God. You need to view your career, your job, your employment as a gift from God. And it will change your attitude. And Colossians says, whatever you do in word or in deed, do it as unto the Lord. In other words, make it an act of worship. All right, let me keep on moving. Number 5, here it is. That's you and your employer. Number 5, take risks. Take risks. If you're going to be on a job, if you're going to get an a promotion, if you're going to go somewhere else, you're going to take some risks. You're going to do some things. You're going to do some things. I'll tell you something. I remember I once pastored in one of the greatest churches I ever pastored in Toledo. It was a great church. And let me tell you something. We did stuff that were just on another level. And it was all from taking risks. At one time, I looked at the members. I said, listen, we're gonna do what we got to do. They said, what are we going to do? I said, well, we're going to have an evangelistic series at the University of Toledo for 21 straight days. And let me tell you something. The people of God came in. We did what we had to do. I remember one time we had to, I was on the city council board, on the mayor's board, and I'd become, I'd won for the city the Emerging Leader Award for the city of Toledo. And because of that, it opened up doors to the public school system, doors to 3 city boards where I was sitting and doing some very amazing stuff. And the church was part of it. Our church was part of the community. And I tell you, it all happened because of the risks that we're willing to take. And I want to challenge you, wherever you work, it doesn't matter how the situation looks like, you are the solution to fix it. If you have a job, if you work at a place where things are difficult, you are the solution to that problem. You need to have that mentality as you go on your job. Don't sit there and list things that are going bad, because listen, they have been going bad before you got there. That's why you were hired. You were hired to make it better. You were hired to make it better. Every place where you work, by the time you leave, you must leave that place better. All right? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Yeah, Pastor, I need time to pray. No. You go on your job to work. Go work. You don't go to your job for Bible study and, no, go and work. Take the risks for you to know more about your environment, know more about the career where you are, and see how you can grow in that environment. And let me tell you something to some young dreamers who are on this line. Whenever you are gifted and you want to do more on your job, you are going to become a threat to leaders who can only function when you are less than what God has created you to be. And that's everywhere. That's in the Bible. You remember when David killed Goliath. Saul was the king. He was supposed to kill Goliath, but Saul didn't kill Goliath. Saul was timid and afraid, and David came up and killed Goliath. And from the day he killed Goliath, David was on the radar of Saul. And yet when you go to 1 Samuel chapter 16, you discover that when Saul was crazy in the palace, it was David who was actually, Saul was told, there's a son of Jesse. He can play. He is great at playing. And David came. Do you know that David and Saul had a relationship in chapter 16? And yet in chapter 17, it's Saul who actually asked people, who is this man, when he was going to kill Goliath? And I want you to understand, when you are young and you're on the job and you're doing whatever you are doing, listen to me. The more you enter into what God wants you to be, you're going to become a threat to every leader whose power feels threatened because you are walking into your own. All right? So take risks. Take risks. So here it is. So 5 things. Expectation where the boss is not looking. Do it right. Do it right. Whatever your job is, do it right. Stop complaining. Do it right. If you don't like the job, find another one. But do it right is the principle of it. Don't join the complaining team. You're not being paid to complain. You were hired on that job to fix the problem. So do it right. That's number 1. Number 2, do more than expected. Do more than expected. Number 3, do not wait to be told what to do. It matters. And number 3, do the dirty and difficult jobs. And number 5, take risks on your job. Develop, grow. All right. The part B now. How do I deal with my boss on the job? All right. For those of you who are coming, I see one of my friend, minister, preacher in your own right. We are learning on expectations when the boss is not looking, and I'm challenging you to read Genesis chapter 30 and Genesis chapter 31, and we are pulling these principles when it comes to employer and employee from the story of Jacob and Laban. Jacob says in verse 6 of 31, and you know that with all my might I have served your father. 7, yet your father has deceived me, number 1, and he has changed my wages 10 times, but God did not allow him to hurt me. So how do I deal with my boss? So your part on your job, listen to me, child of God, whether you're a Christian or you're not, but if you are employed by anybody, if anybody pays you money, they have expectations on you. Okay? The moment you accept money from anyone, you need to understand their expectations. So there's nothing wrong with expectations. Come to work on time. You have 30 minutes break. You have 1 hour break. Do it right. That's number 1. Number 2, do more than expected. Be available to do more. Don't be the last one to come in and be the first one to leave. Because if anybody is the boss, they are watching for those who love the job. I remember one time I went to apply for a job somewhere before I got into ministry here in the States. And when I got there, I was looking for this job, and I went in dressed, and I got there, and this person told me something that blew my mind. They asked me, what are you doing? What are you doing in school? And I shared with them, and they looked at me and they said, "You're not the one we're looking for." And I said, "Why?" And they said, "Because this will not be. We are not investing in you so that you can leave. We are looking for someone that we can invest in so that the company keeps and stays blessed and empowered by this up and coming leader." It was a lesson. I got in my car and I said, wow, I lost that great job simply because they saw that I was not for the growth of that place. So some of us don't get promoted on the job because you, my friend, don't look like you care. You don't look like you're there for the long run. You know you're going to leave at some point. Everybody leaves at some point. But when you arrive, you need to get in and make everybody believe I'm here to stay. I had one old man tell me something. He said, "Listen, as a pastor, you need, the moment you get to the church where you go, you need to start to prepare for the next church." And I said, "No, I don't believe in that. I really don't believe in that. What if you die in that church where you are? What if you die in that church where you are and you have to be buried by those people? And people can tell when you are not there. Your heart is not in it. People can tell that, and your employer can tell when your heart is not in it. So you're wondering, how come I'm not promoted? Well, when you come to work, you come with everything that has nothing to do with the job. Okay, some of you Christians, listen to me, Christians out there, you come in with 15 Bibles and you know you're an accountant. There are no accounts in the Bible. Listen, you come in with 15 books and all your Sabbath school books, Sunday book, and Bible study book, and all that. No. If I am an employer, I need to look into your eye and at least believe that you are here to stay with me for the long haul. That's what makes so many people lose their promotion. Well, lose promotions. Everybody wants somebody who stays there. Okay, all right, okay. So how do I deal with my boss? Because from Jacob we learned that there is no perfect boss. There's no perfect boss. Write that down, somebody. There's no perfect boss. Every boss is as perfect and as good as you are a non-threat to them. The day you become a threat to your boss, you're going to discover another side of your boss. There's no perfect boss in the world. Ain't nobody. Whether it's in the church, whether it's in politics, whether there is no perfect boss. It doesn't happen. Everybody is perfect till the day you become a threat to their power. Oh, when power is threatened, people become something else. Most of the people who love you on your job is because you're not a threat to their position. The day you become a competitor and equal, then we got issues. So how do I deal with my boss? Okay, let me get into it. Terry, thank you for coming. How do I deal with my boss? All right? 5 things on how to deal with your boss from Genesis chapter 30 and Genesis chapter 31. All right? Number 1, know your boss. Study your boss. Know your boss. Know your boss. Know your boss. Just know your boss. What does your boss like? You need to know your boss. Just know. I wish somebody had told me this. Whether it's in the church, whether it's in the world, you need to know your boss. Whoever your boss is, know your boss. If he is a person who is driven by ego, you got to know that. Because if you cut that ego, then you're going to get into trouble. Okay? If he is a prideful person, that's who they are. That's not what you are. That's who they are. You need to know your boss. Just know your boss. Study your boss. Know when your boss has an anniversary, and on his anniversary with his wife, say, "Hey, happy anniversary, sir." That's what's up. On his birthday, "Hey, happy birthday, sir." You lose nothing. Let me tell you something. Your boss is, whilst God is blessing your life, your boss is part of God's blessing on your life. Okay, don't hate your boss. Don't do that. If you have an issue with your boss, fix it. You need to find a way of liking your boss. At least you don't have to be friends, but here is where it is. Because if you become a threat, if you become an enemy of your boss got power to cut you. All right. So number one, know your boss. I wish somebody had told me this. Know your boss. I've had some good bosses. Okay, let me not go ahead. Know your boss. Know your boss. Know the birthday of your boss. Know it. Know the birthday of your manager, birthday of your supervisor. You got to have it. Listen, know their children if you have to. Know their accomplishments if you have to. Are you ready for this? Because people work with people that they like. That's why Jacob says, your father's face has changed toward me. Your father no longer likes me. I'm about to go. Because when people no longer like you, they're about to cut you. If somebody had only told this black man what I'm sharing with you right now, I would have saved myself nights of pain. Know your boss. Know your boss. Know your boss. Expectations when your boss is not looking. Know your boss. Know your boss. Listen, your boss doesn't have to go to church with you. Whether your boss doesn't come to church or whatever, know your boss. If your boss plays golf a lot, on his birthday, buy him something that has everything to do with what he loves the most. Know your boss. If he has lost someone and whatever stuff, participate. You're going beyond just the paycheck. You are looking up, you're thanking God. Because let me tell you something. God works through people. God works through people. 2 dreams in the Bible that are so unique that have shifted the history of the world were given to non-believers. 2 dreams. 2 dreams that shifted the world. Universal global impact dreams were given to 2 non-believers. One was given to Pharaoh. Pharaoh was God himself. Pharaoh didn't believe in God, and yet God gave him a vision which Joseph had to interpret. And Nebuchadnezzar was a wicked man. Nebuchadnezzar was not a Christian, did not believe in God. In fact, he thought he was a god, and yet God gave him Daniel chapter 2. The whole history of the world was not given to a bishop, was not given to a pastor, was not given to an elder, was not given to a deacon. It was given to a man who was high on the spirit, and yet the Spirit of God came in. Oh, God. In other words, here it is. God is the one who gives you the boss you got. Don't matter what your boss does. Chew tobacco, smoke tobacco, sniff tobacco, whatever your boss does. He's part of God's process of making you what you're supposed to be. Know your boss. Oh, I feel it coming. Know your boss. Don't compete with your boss. Listen, you just need your paycheck. Just know your boss. Know your boss. It'll help you to know what language to use when you're working and talking with your boss. All right, number 2. Do what your boss does not like to do. Find out what your boss does not like to do. And do what your boss does not like to do. In other words, it makes him look better. Okay, I'm going to get there. Do what your boss does not like to do, but must be done. Okay? So in other words, you are coming in, because you need to know who the boss is. Okay? Whatever you do under somebody's leadership, when you do it well, it's going to make that leader better. Not you, but the leader better. And when the leader is better, it is the higher the leader goes, the more he'll pull you along with him. All right? I'm just being practical, relevant. I'm not spiritualizing nothing here. When you're an employee, know your boss. Number 2, do what your boss does not like to do. Okay, what does that mean? Well, in order for you to do what your boss does not like to do, you must learn. You must learn from your worst bosses. You got to learn from your worst bosses so that you discover even worst bosses can make you a better employee. You must learn from your best bosses. Even the best boss will make you better. And be thankful for do-nothing bosses. There are some bosses who don't do nothing. Don't do nothing at all. Be thankful because they open up more space and opportunity for you to function. Don't be in competition with your boss. I'm going to get into it. Oh, okay, please. All right. Number 3. Here's number 3. So know your boss, number 1. Do what your boss does not like to do. Offer your services. If your boss does not like traveling, hey, sir, I'm available. You know I can do that. All right. Number 3, do what your boss does not do well. Do what your boss does not do well. Number 2, do what your boss does not like to do. Number 3, do what your boss does not do well, and do it only after talking to your boss. Okay, let me bring something here to you, which is very, very important. One thing I discovered is that whenever even a good thing that is not communicated can produce bad results. Even a good thing that is not communicated, the intentions are not communicated, can birth a bad result. So in other words, whenever you are an employee and you have an employer and a boss, you learn to communicate your expectations as an employee. Okay. In other words, it clears the threat of you are up to something. You're about to do something. You're about to embarrass me. You're about to look better than me. So it's always important for you to have to clarify your expectations and actions. Don't be full of ego and pride when you're an employee that your employer must wonder what you're up to. Let everybody else wonder what you're up to, but your employer should never wonder what you're up to. Because the day your employer starts wondering what you're up to, then you're about to lose favor with them. Because everybody does not pay anyone to build their own empire on their time. Does that make sense? All right. So do what your boss does not do well. Only after communicating with your boss. And let it be you are helping your boss to catch up and to do what else he wants to do. I tell people this all the time. The greatest question to ever ask a boss is to say, well, how can I help you to how can I help you to accomplish the vision you have for the company? Let me say it again. How can I help you to accomplish? How can I be of assistance to the vision that you have for the company, for the church? If it's your pastor that you work under, pastor, how can I assist you? The problem we have is many of us, and I'm going to get to number 4, that's the one that's coming. Many of us create unnecessary conflicts. Seriously, unnecessary conflict. It's somebody's job and they have a title to do it. Let them do their job. All you got to do is come in and assist them on the job. That's it. Every church has one pastor. Every organization is one CEO. You're not going to have shadow CEOs and all this kind of stuff. It doesn't matter what you think on the job. There's one person whose vision and decisions impact the whole organization. So if you're going to help and assist, go to him as a help and assistance. You are at the mercy of him saying, okay or no. Number 4, dealing with your boss on the job. Right? Number 4. Number 4 is very, very important. Serious. Number 4 is serious. Number 1, we say, know your boss. Number 2, do what your boss does not like to do. Learn from worst bosses. Learn from best bosses. And be thankful for do-nothing bosses. Number 3, do what your boss does not do well. Number 4, this is very important. 2 more, then we're out. Do not compete with your boss. Number 4, do not compete with your boss. Collaborate with your boss. Cooperate with your boss. But never compete with your boss. Because when you compete with your boss, it's just going to go, the bad news is going to go one way. And that's your way. Do not compete with your boss. Listen, your boss has got so much stuff on his table. Let him do what he got to do. All right. Let him do what he got to do. He has got stuff to do. He has got vision to do. And listen, all you got to do is collaborate with your boss, cooperate with your boss. Every boss has a boss. Did you hear what I'm saying? Everybody has someone above them. So whilst your boss may be intimidating to you, your boss is also an employee to somebody else. So don't make yourself the agenda on the table of your boss, because your boss is going to you're going to provoke pride and ego and jealousy and vindictiveness, and all that stuff will come and crush you. Okay, write this thing down, or do not compete with your boss. When you are working, when you have a job, here's what it is. It's not about, Terry, it's not about who is right on the job. Most of the times, it's about who gets hurt on the job. Did you hear that? Somebody put some likes and some hearts. Because that right there, it's not about being right. It's about who gets hurt. If you are on the job and all you do is, I'm going to say it like it is, and I'm going to, listen to me. You're going to lose the job. You're going to lose it because it's about who gets hurt. You need to understand you have got bills to pay. You have got kids in school. You have got a car note to pay. You have got places to go. You need this money. You need this job. You're not going to change this company. This company was here before you got here. You're not going to turn it around because you have arrived. If you think you have a great idea, start your own company. Start your own company. If you're a visionary, don't become a visionary on other people's visions. I remember one time I had my own company and I had one employee of mine, and it was very amazing. This guy, I said to him, boss, you gotta, he had done something alongside what my company was. And so he came to me one time and we were discussing. He said, oh man, I hired him because he had an idea of what I was doing. And so the guy said to me, this is how we got to do it, this is how we got to do it. He shifted from suggestions to, commands. And I'm thinking, this is my company, this is my thing, man. You're working for me. I'm signing the check. The guy said, I know what you're trying to do. This is what we need to do. It started as a suggestion, but now we were arguing, Terry. We were arguing about my vision, about my dream, about my company. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. Are you ready for this? Before he got home, he got a text. It was cut. So number 4, do not compete with your boss. I don't care how bad your boss is. I don't care how your boss is bad with people, ridiculous with public relations, micromanaging. Whatever your boss does, do not compete with your boss. Jacob realized that. I'm not going to compete with Laban. I'm going to go home. I'm going to get out here and go. All right, here's number 5, then I'll let you go. Number 5, oh God. All right, before I do number 5, let me summarize. Stand down or get cut. Mercy. There it is. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. You're right. Stand down. You got to understand. Don't come into the job to teach everybody how the company should be. No. You're an employee. Stay in your lane. Know your position. If you think you can be, the day you become a competitor to your boss is the day you must start your own company. Because nobody pays anyone to bring pain to them. Nobody does that. All right. So let me run down, then we get to the last one. So there are 2 sides. There's part A and part B, expectations when the boss is not looking. From Genesis chapter 30 and Genesis chapter 31, Laban and Jacob, you go read those things and come up with more principles on how to be an employee in a bad environment. There's no perfect job. Let's start right there. There's no perfect job. Being a pastor is not a perfect job. Working for the church is not a perfect job. Being a politician is not a perfect job. Being a business CEO is not. There's no perfect job. There's absolutely nothing. No perfect job. But every job is part of your character development. Okay? Every job, whatever it is part of your character development, and it will contribute to the person that you must become. So you as an employee, 5 things. Number 1, do it right. Whatever you do it right. Make up your mind, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do it right. I'm just going to do it right. I'm going to do it right, not because they're clapping hands for me, not because they're my friends. No, I'm going to do it right. I got this job, and I am going to earn every penny that my employer pays me. Number 2, do more than expected. Do more than expected. Don't be the last person into the building and be the first person out of the building. You must create space so that you can do. If you are asked to come in a little bit early to do something, you are in. If you are asked to do, you are doing an assignment and it runs out over, you must do it. It matters. You must find joy in your work. Ecclesiastes tells us that your work is a gift from God. All right? Your work is a gift from God. This week we're celebrating the gift of God, the ultimate gift of Jesus Christ. And I wanted to understand that, listen, whilst Jesus Christ is the gift of God to the world for our redemption, your job, the Bible says it is a gift from God. That job you got, there is some divine orchestration behind you sweeping the streets, you being an accountant, you need to understand there's a blessing in your job. I believe one of the challenges that the church created in the mindsets of believers is making believers believe that only those in pastoral ministry are the ones who are called. Okay, and then we made the accountants and everybody else look like if you're really called, you're going to get into ministry. No, being an accountant is ministry. Ministry is your life. Whatever you do that brings glory to God is ministry. You don't have to be paid by a church, by a conference, by whatever for you to do ministry. No, on that job, you're doing ministry. As a stay-at-home mom, you're doing ministry. You need to understand that. You got to understand. This is where we messed it up. So a few people became so special in the eyes of believers because they had titles, and when they arrived, they needed an introduction. Let me tell you something. Wherever you are making a difference that brings glory to God, you are doing ministry. All right. So do not wait to be told what to do. Number 4, do the dirty and difficult jobs. Number 5, take risks. Now, dealing with your employer. Number 1, know your boss. Know your boss. Know your boss. Know your boss. I mean, in the United States, we have President Joe Biden now. We had former President Donald J. Trump, and it was known that anybody who worked under the former president had to literally know their place. Clap your hands for the man, and he was number 1 in the room. Nobody was to compete with who he was. I mean, he was number 1 in the room. You got to know your boss. You cannot control your boss. You cannot change your boss, but at least know your boss. It'll take away disappointments. It'll take away frustrations, because you need to understand your boss is who he is. If he has a certain language that he understands, whether it's the language of respect or it's whatever the language is, that language, if you don't use it, don't expect results, same results as those who use that. So know your boss, know your boss, know your boss, know your boss. I didn't say like your boss, I said know your boss. All right? And then number 2, do what your boss does not like to do. Do what your boss does not like to do. And do it all in the context of making your boss look good. That's number 5. Make your boss look good. Number 3, do what your boss does not do well. Number 4, do not compete with your boss. And number 5, listen to me, make your boss look good. Yeah. Make him look good. Don't embarrass your boss. Don't show whatever. Make him look good. I wish I knew what I'm sharing with you. Because I just noticed when people got power, they come from another world. Power changes people. A little bit of power, great power, whatever. Power changes people. And when people got power, that power makes them cause some things to happen. So even your boss, the fact that he's your boss, if he recommends that you are cut, you may be cut. So whatever you do, in all you're doing, make your boss look good. Don't compete with him. Make him look good. Do what he doesn't do well. Do what he doesn't like to do. And know your boss. Ultimately, let me tell you something. Jacob says, I'm done. Here it is. Jacob says in Genesis chapter 31, verse 7, he says, verse 6, he says, and you know that with all my might, I have served your father. I was a good employee, you know that. And then listen to verse 7. He says, yet your father has deceived me and changed my salary 10 times, but God. But God did not allow him to hurt me. And I want you to understand, child of God, whatever you're doing, whatever your job is, there's a but God in your job. In your employment, in your career, there's a but God in there. There's a shift that only God can bring in. Promotion does not come from the east or from the west. That's what the Bible says. But promotion comes from the Lord. Be faithful. Be faithful. Jesus says, if you're faithful in little stuff, you qualify yourself for mega stuff. So may the Lord find you faithful as an employee. The Bible is full of employees who are in the Bible, Terry, because they were employees. Joseph was an employee for Potiphar, and he was elevated. Joseph was an employee to the jailer, and he was promoted. Joseph was literally an employee of Pharaoh. Daniel was an employee of Nebuchadnezzar. You need to understand here, my friend, whilst we hear and read about their faith, they qualified to be on the stage of the world's history because they were employees. Nehemiah was an employee. You need to understand there are more employees in the Bible that are in the book because they were faithful on the job. May you find your calling. May you find your meaning. May you find your joy on your job, because the destiny you are looking for, Nehemiah, might be in the job that you do. It was Nehemiah's job that gave him favor with the king so that he could be allowed to go back and rebuild the wall. Oh, come on, talk to me, somebody. It was because Daniel was excellent on the job that in chapter 6, the king came to him, could not sleep because he knew his best employee was about to be killed. Let me tell you something. Be known to be faithful on the job. Be faithful on the job. Be faithful on the job. Whatever you do, be faithful on it. If you are a teacher, be a faithful teacher, because you never know. The next president of your country, the next greatest world leader may be sitting in that class under your tutelage. And when it's all said and done, it's because you were faithful as a teacher that somebody becomes the president. Be faithful. Whatever job you do, be faithful with it. Yes, the cardiologist is paid more money than the janitor who cleans the floor of the surgery. The one who sweeps the floor of the hospital does not make more money than the cardiologist. Yes, the nurses make more money than the one who cooks the food for the patient. But if the one who cooks, the one who works in the hospitality was not there, if the janitor was not there, then the surgeon and the nurse would not have a clean hospital. Everybody have got part to do. Be faithful. And the book says when Jesus comes, he's going to say, well done. Well done. Listen, some of us will never be thanked by our employers, but I am waiting for the day when Jesus comes again and he's going to lick his lips, clear his throat, look in my direction, put on a divine smile on his face, and he'll say, well done. Because it was done. So, my friend, be blessed as you embrace the blessing of God called